Aman, how are you?
Hi, Gurit. I'm absolutely all right. How are you doing?
Very fine, thank you. So we do these, talk shows for Mind My Mind, where we've been wanting to get awareness about mental health concerns that we all face.
Definitely. I
Today,
have seen your talk shows earlier.
awesome. I hope you've liked them.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. So great to have you here, Aman. So, dear viewers, please welcome Mr. Aman Chaudhary. He is a neuroclinical psychologist with a huge amount of experience behind him in dealing with various clinical concerns of mental health. He's been working very, very closely with the doctors medical doctors of various specialities, and brings to us a wealth of information that we can actually learn and understand from him. So, Aman, ये समय उस टाइम का है जब साल खत्म होने को आ रहा है, एंड ऑल ऑफ अस आर लाइक स्ट्रेस्ड कि अब हमारी न्यू ईयर रेजोल्यूशन जो पिछले साल में थी वो हम कर पाए पूरी की नहीं, और अगली साल में हम क्या करें, राइट?
Absolutely. I'll tell you one thing before we go ahead. ये वो टाइम है जहाँ पे all of us are sad because our New Year resolutions are unfulfilled and yet we are making new. So it's like a gloomy but bright together.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. So I think this also gives rise to a lot of tension headaches, which is something that I was experiencing. तो मैंने सोचा आपसे
Yeah.
इस पे चर्चा करें थोड़ी सी कि टेंशन हेडेक्स क्या होती हैं और हम क्या करें, एंड स्पेशली ड्यूरिंग द एंड ऑफ द न्यू ईयर मे बी वी कैन, इट्स अ वेरी गुड टाइम फॉर अस टू से दैट ओके, गुड बाय टेंशंस, क्योंकि स्ट्रेस एंड टेंशन is one of the most painful aspect of our everyday lives. हम में से कोई भी इसे हट के क्या कहते हैं, इलेदा नहीं हो सकता, राइट?
I'll tell you, stress headache, tension headache. These are all the terms that's given to a normal discomfort. That discomfort is never normal, but to an extent it happens. I can term it as like a milder discomfort that you feel like there's a tight band around your head with something that is loaded onto it and something you don't know how to unload. So it is a milder form of discomfort that you feel when some of the other task being given to you is not fulfilled. Some of the other expectations you have set for yourself is not done. So you keep overthinking about it. आप इतना सोच लेते हो उस चीज को कि वो आपके ना सर पे हावी हो जाती है. इट्स लाइक, अगर मैं बहुत ही लेमैन टर्म में बोलूं तो इट्स लाइक अ शैतान जो आपके ऊपर सवार होने की पूरी कोशिश करता है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. मैंने तो बहुत बार ये महसूस किया है.
मैंने खुद.
अच्छा, सो
I'll give you a recent example. I
अपनी
was
स्टडी
traveling.
से है.
Recent example, I was traveling yesterday or day before yesterday, and I had gone for some important work of seeing a client. Tension मुझे होनी चाहिए थी कि client को I have to handle, and I'm traveling so far for this client, but no, मुझे tension थी मेरी flight की. If I am well organized on time, and if I know that okay, this much time I need for this much time I need for this, if I'm well organized, तो मुझे ये टेंशन होगी ही नहीं.
बिल्कुल.
तो टेंशन का जो बेसिस है ये होता है हमारा थोड़ा सा अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड बीइंग जो हम हो जाते हैं.
सो
रेदर देन
हेडेक एक बहुत ही आम चीज है, हम सबको होती है. हाउ डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन टेंशन हेडेक एंड हेडेक? ये दो चीजें हमें किस तरीके से डिफरेंशिएट करेगा?
See, when there is some of the other physiological or biological basis of that pain or the ache, then it forms in the category of non-tension headache and a physiological headache. That is happening because of some of the other reason to it. When you can attach a biological reason to an headache, it is not a tension headache. Like migraine. It is not a tension headache. But having to do so much in the evening, but I'm still not ready yet. My work is not done. I have a presentation to do. There is no biological basis for it. The basis that we have around it is that I have to do so much and I have not done it.
Okay.
So this is the basic differentiation factor.
So basically कोई भी चीज, कोई भी थॉट जो है उसको लेके उसको हम उसी के ऊपर दिमाग अगर घूमता रहता है तो दैट कॉजेज टेंशन हेडेक्स.
Exactly. आप देखिए कि अगर आपको you have migraine, you have slit pain. Slit pain is also a very major issue in the headache. हिंदी में लोग बहुत बार बोलते हैं आधी सीसी का दर्द हो रहा है.
Okay.
Yeah, so these pains have a biological basis. Migraine has a biological basis. Slit pain has a biological basis. Headache after fever has a biological basis. Headache after cold has a biological basis. Headache that is happening because of some other ailment has a biological basis. That this was the comfort, and after this was the discomfort precisely, and after this the headache is happening. But the tension headache that we talk about, it happens usually after no biological or physiological factor involved. It happens only after when you are like, damn, this was to be done, or ye hua nahi, ab kya hoga. The factor of ab kya hoga is the cause of tension headache. And this tension headache is mostly because of other people in our life, by the way.
बिल्कुल, क्योंकि हमारा फोकस तो वही रहता है ना, अपने ऊपर.
Yeah.
बाकी आसपास क्या हो रहा है फोकस हम ज्यादा उस पे रखते हैं मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम. दैट इज व्हाई
मेरी लाइफ में मैं तो प्रायोरिटी हो ही नहीं सकता. कैसे हो जाऊंगा भाई, जब 10 लोग और इन्वॉल्व है मेरी लाइफ के आसपास, तो मैं कैसे अपनी प्रायोरिटी हो जाऊं, जबकि इट इज इजीएस्ट टू बी योर प्रायोरिटी.
आपने बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल एक चीज बोली कि प्रायोरिटी अपने आप को रखें तो चीजें ऑटोमेटिकली सुलझ जाती हैं, और अगर हम सुलझे हुए हों तो हमारी टेंशन हेडेक्स भी कम हो जाएंगे.
बट दिस इज द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट पार्ट.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
How can I prioritize myself when I have prioritized my friends, my boyfriend or girlfriend, my husband or wife, my parents, my kids, my watchman, my kamwali didi, my driver, my masi, my masa, my dadu, dadi, everyone. उन लोगों को खुश कौन करेगा? The day we'll start prioritizing ourselves over everyone else, and when I say anyone else or everyone else, I mean it that anybody who's not you is someone else. And in your prioritizing yourself, you don't have to hurt somebody. I never mean that. What you have to do is to keep your happiness on the right table. Prioritize yourself. If you don't feel like doing something, you don't have to. नॉट बिकॉज वो क्या सोचेंगे, अरे वो तब भी वही सोचेंगे जब तुम अगली बार वो काम नहीं करोगे.
तो एक कहावत है कि यू कांट सर्व फ्रॉम एन एम्प्टी जग. या जो कह रहे हैं इसका एसेंशियल ये भी है कि हम खुद खुश रहेंगे तभी हम आसपास लोगों को खुश कर पाएंगे. नॉट द
एंड यू विल नेवर हैव अ टेंशन हेडेक आफ्टरवर्ड्स.
ट्रू ट्रू. So, Amanji, tell me, we often hear stress migraine हो गया.
Yeah.
तो ये क्या होता है? Is it another form of tension headache, or it is a kind of a migraine? And how do we know कि ये अगर हो रहा है तो हम क्या करें इससे?
See, stress sometimes also has a biological and situational factors involved. You are stressed because of your own health conditions, and sometimes you are stressed because of the situations around you. That is one factor to it. And migraine that is aggravated because of that stress is a stress migraine. When you are going through a lot at some time, ठीक है यार, like very colloquially saying कि आप हर दिन की परेशानी को छोड़ नहीं सकते. आएंगी ही आएंगी, कुछ तो आएंगी, अगर सब नहीं आएंगी तो उनको अगर आप स्ट्रेसफुल एनवायरनमेंट मान के if you are dealing them in that way, so that will be a problem. Rather sort out things. If it is not happening today, it's okay. Chill. Like, I'm sure one more thing that people till in date in your talk show hasn't worked out, but I will take a 10 seconds break to take a water. I am prioritizing myself over the chat show. Please give me 10 seconds. Prioritize myself, but did not keep you in the loop. 10 seconds means less than 10 seconds, and I'm back.
But that is, I think, very, very important. And it's a very great lesson that we have to first look after ourselves. And
Definitely.
doing that and building our priority list around our needs, my needs, not even our. I'm changing the OUR,
My needs.
MY for once.
Definitely.
अगर मैं अपने आप को खुश रख सकूं तभी मैं बाकी किसी और लोगों को खुश कर सकती हूँ अपनी जिंदगी में.
Gurit, what is the name of our brand that we endorse everything around? Mind?
Mind my mind.
Mind, my mind, right?
Mind
It is not mind our mind.
True.
We are not doing it collectively. Be settled in your own head, and then you can take things ahead and you'll be very happy. You will never have a tension headache. I'll just give you a few tips about how to get relief from tension headache, because this is also important.
Very, very important.
Yeah. Generally, when we go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a counselor for a tension headache, we mostly go to neurologist first. It is an important need that the neurologist should also understand that the reason or the basis for this headache is stress, anxiety, and depression. Thankfully, I'm in touch with the neurologist in my own area. Does he do? He really understands the basis of psychological issues involved. And then without giving them any medicine for the stress, headache, and all that, he just tells them, okay, this is a clinical psychologist or that is a counselor. Please go and meet them and get your issues solved. Now comes the major part, that what actually we need to do. You might have heard of CBT, cognitive behavior therapy.
Bilkul.
We take the components of cognition and behavior and get the client going into it.
Okay.
We ask them to schedule their days. Scheduling your days is very important, because if your day is scheduled, you know what exactly do we have to do in this day. सुबह को हम 10 काम लेके शुरू करते हैं, शाम तक एक हो पाता है, 9 की डिसअपॉइंटमेंट. 9 की डिसअपॉइंटमेंट उस एक से ज्यादा होती है. Now, how about it that let's take one task a day and finish it. वो जो आपने 10 काम लेके शुरू किए ना, वो भी 10 दिन में ही होंगे, बट डिसअपॉइंटमेंट रेट आपका इतना हाई रहेगा, ठीक है, और यहाँ पे आपका satisfaction rate रहेगा. Rather, if we schedule those tasks, okay, this is the most important task and I should do it today, and then we should go ahead with the other tasks like that, and everything is sorted. Right. Then we can easily do that. Scheduling your day and your tasks are one of the most important thing.
Right.
Then another thing that I say is maintaining your journal. You should always write what exactly is disturbing you and analyze it after 6 hours. That is it really that troublesome?
Mind My Mind has come up with a very beautiful mind journal, mood journal.
Yeah.
Help people journal, what triggers, what instances trigger their emotions. Reading through a nice emotion, also, in a way that you can understand your emotions. So there is an emotion wheel, and through which you can kind of pick and do that. So very good point that you raised, because I think it's one of the most important things. If we journal and we kind of go back, and then you're just, reiterating that.
You have to go back to what you have written and realize that what the perception of that pain or that situation or the trigger was. Is it really that big, or we are overemphasizing or overvaluing things? Because when we are in a stressful situation, we tend to perceive the stress or the trigger to be exaggerated. We exaggerate our suffering sometimes in our own head. So if we have a journal and if we revisit it again and again, we'll be able to sort things out.
Okay.
The perception will really reduce of the pain. The perception will really reduce of the stressful or the triggering situations, and we'll perceive the right things.
Awesome.
Another thing I will say is a daily exercise and yoga. Sorry, the word is yoga. I have been scolded about yoga and yoga quite a number of times by my father. So he's actually a yoga expert. Again, yoga. He's like, why don't you call Ramayana? Why don't you call Mahabharata?
Right, right.
Yoga is yoga. I was like, okay. So mindfulness yoga is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And all these
Living in the
fancy
moment,
things.
it teaches you to live in the moment. When you say mindful,
Exactly. This is the most important thing, to be in the moment.
and that's the exercise of the mind.
Absolutely. See, being in the present is really a difficult task because we don't like to be here where we are. Either we'll be in the past, crying and weeping about the things that we couldn't do, or
Mhm.
we are in the future, setting some realistic and some fantasy goals.
Mhm.
More than working for the realistic goals, we'll work for the fantasy goals because that needs more hard work.
I'm quite a victim of that. I'm sure you're laughing at me.
That needs more hard work, but we'll not work on the realistic goals.
Hmm. True.
So it's easier to set a realistic goal and fulfill it than
Right.
moving towards the fantasy goals. I had a fantasy goal in the childhood that, oh, one day I'll be sailing around the ferries. I am really working hard. It's not getting true. What do I do? Baba, this is fantasy.
True. We need to be able to differentiate between the two.
Between what is realistic and what is
Right.
not.
Right. Right.
These things does help. These are the few tips that I could give you in this session.
So this is excellent.
For more,
One, before we sign off, one question.
yeah.
Would you like to throw some light about neuroendocrine disorders क्या होते हैं और क्या हम लोग आजकल साइकोथेरेपी में रियलाइज कर रहे हैं
Yeah.
अबाउट दीज इश्यूज क्योंकि एंडोक्राइन इश्यूज तो बहुत हो रहे हैं सबको आज की डेट में.
See, neuroendocrine is basically, if I'll tell you, a condition in which neuroendocrine cells develops into tumors. It could be a neuroendocrine
Result is
cyst.
all it's all because of the stress and tension that we take, right?
Yeah. You know, I've recently come across something called neuroendocrine cancer,
Mhm.
and there was an article that says that there was an outburst, but at a very, very minimal speed of the cancer cells
Mhm.
that could have been, you know, stopped. But the perception of the cancer, pain, the perception of the threat was so big that they couldn't save the patient.
So I think
It was.
to understand the takeaway from today's talk is कि if we start learning to prioritize ourselves and learn
Yeah,
tension free, I think that's the best thing that needs to happen because it
definitely.
not only helps you live healthy and in the present state, but also happier and with a better health outcome in the end. Awesome.
And the final result is all what we aim for. So your journey might be tough where you want to overthink, and your psychologist will ask you to not overthink. But what can we do? We are overthinkers. We will do it. Your psychologist will really help you in this thing. Have a belief in the therapy, have a belief in your therapist, have a belief in yourself, more important, that you will sail the ship and you will be able to come out of these tension headaches.
I think one very critical thing that needs to happen also is that we should not shy away from going to a psychologist. It is not just because you have a disorder, but because we could use some help and hand holding to just walk through. It's like a stilt on the arm. And I think
Definitely, but
stilt on the arm.
I'll again tell you one more thing. How can we not stigmatize it? जब कोई और जा रहा था तो हमने उसका भी तो मजाक उड़ाया था ना. अब लोग मेरा भी मजाक उड़ा लेंगे. Come out of this vicious circle of staying away from therapists, because they are really there to help you out.
True. Absolutely.
It is not something that you should be scared of, shy away. It is not something that you should not really look into it. It is a form of, I will say, it is a form of behavioral medicine that will actually help you to make the route smoother for your other medicines.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Aman. Wishing you a very, very happy new year.
I will wish you a mindful as a present new year.
Thank you. Awesome. Very well said. Happy
And
present new year.
And for more information on tension, headache and all, and regarding any sort of headache, Gureet, people will get in touch with you. You can get in touch with me and we'll take it ahead for sure.
Thank you, Aman. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.